Don't forget full episodes on YouTube. You can also find us on Tubi. Welcome back to the show, everybody. When a celebrity announces that they're doing a new memoir, fans get real excited. But not all of us have the time to read them and dig through the details. Well, unless you're our first guest today. She hosts the podcast Glamorous Trash, which coincidentally was the original name of this show. It was, actually. It didn't test well for us. Essentially, it's a book club in podcast form where she recaps female celebrity memoirs. Audience, give it up for the immensely talented Chelsea Devantez. Hi, Chelsea.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, I mostly do female memoirs, but I do make exceptions for men's memoirs, which...
I love them. I love a good memoir
on my podcast.
I love that. I got to tell you, you got to come back because I could do an hour with you, but let's focus this visit, if you will come back. I want to focus this visit on the memoirs. Chelsea, you've read so many of these damn things. What makes a great one in your experience, and what makes just a horrible, like trash in a bad way?
Great. Thank you for differentiating between good trash and bad trash.
Thank you.
Important. I know that you get it. It means a lot to me. So a good one will not spend an hour on what their great-grandparents did and then their grandparents. They won't tell me what their dad's cologne smelled like when he hugs them, which is like a constant in memoirs. And they will name names and be vulnerable and be entertaining while also like elevating your life for reading it. So they're not just like, talking to talk. So, and the bad ones, the trash ones are definitely the ones that are just blatantly lying and or doing 2 chapters of product placement in a book, which was Mary Bonet from Celeb.
Ew! 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 That's horrible. Well, okay, this is one of those typical...
I know.
This is one of those typical
talks. I was shocked. I had to read it.
I'm sorry. You're doing the Lord's work on that one. But yeah, I know this is one of those typical talk show questions, but I do want to know, off the top of your head, if I were to ask you, and I'm going to, what's one of your favorites? Your answer would be?
Demi Moore, Gabrielle Union's first memoir, Mariah Carey, Jessica Simpson, and Ione Skye's that just came out is incredible.
Is Chelsea, Mimi's is really good. Thank you I love that woman so much. Mariah's is really good?
It's fantastic. In her acknowledgments, she takes 30, I'm going to say a minute to name all of her dogs and thank them by name.
No! Chelsea, really?
It's so good. The audiobook is great too because she'll sing, she'll do impressions, she'll do an impression of her mom, she'll do an impression of Michael Jackson. It's great.
Okay, getting that audiobook as soon as this is over. Okay. Hey, you know this, everybody. I mean, I'm sure Mariah Carey's dogs have a podcast. Yours is so good, so highly rated, so huge numbers. What made you want to do a podcast, Chelsea? Because you do so many things so well.
Well, great question. I did not want to do a podcast. I'm a comedian, so this is the death knell. I said, please, no podcast. But it was 2020 and I just have always loved celebrity memoirs. And back in 2020, we were not giving them their due. And so I started recapping them on my Instagram during the pandemic. And the people demanded a podcast. And I said, oh, okay. So it became actually my favorite thing ever to do. And I really love doing like a structured, well-researched, trashy podcast.
Yeah, because for you guys that don't know, she's done it all. Chelsea's a comedian. She's wrote her own memoir, which I got to have you back just to talk about that because that is a whole other can of cream corn. So we got to have that later. Yeah, that is just another can of everything. But isn't it great crafting something like a podcast and putting it out there and people love it? That's a gift, isn't it?
It's been incredible. Also, I'm a TV writer by day, and you get so many notes, and you just get notes and notes and notes and notes. And so to do a podcast where it's exactly what I want, it goes out immediately, that's been really wonderful. And I think the community has been the best part. There's just been You want to be in a book club that's full of garbage, but is also about books. And this has been that for me and for everyone else. So I think that's been the best part.
I love it. Will you please come back another time so we can talk about your book? Will you please?
I would love to. I love you. Also, I can hear your audience, and they're fun.
They are. Oh, I mean, we have had some rogue audience members move around, but I mean, but they're great. They're great overall. Yeah.
They've got to live their lives. They know what they're doing.
That's right. They know exactly what they're doing. Give it up for Chelsea, everybody. Subscribe to the podcast right now, Glamorous Trash, wherever you get your podcast. And pick up a copy. You guys read that book, and then we'll have her back on. Her memoir is called I Shouldn't Be Telling You This, but I'm Going to Anyway. I know this is a hard turn, but she opens up about domestic violence, a rough childhood, how she overcame both. She's been on The View. You go read that book. It is powerful. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Back in a moment.